Welcome to Castnet Penticton's Mayor's Minute. I'm Colin Dacre, joined here by the Mayor, Andrew Jakubeit.
Hello.
So last week you announced that you're going to be running for re-election in October. It's a municipal election. Just tell me, why do you think you deserve another term?
Sure. Well, I think, to start advocating and actually seeing the hospital, $312 million hospital, and just looking around all the construction, I think it's about 1,169 housing units that we've approved since 2014. We've invested in the youth with the YES project. We've got downtown revitalization, the relocation of the casino, and really being recognized as one of Canada's most entrepreneurial cities. Certainly something to be proud of, and also kind of speaks to the momentum that's being created right now. And we haven't had a lot of stability and consistency with council, in particular the mayor's seat. It always seems to rotate through, and I think to continue that momentum and despite people thinking that it's whether they run a corporation or run a nonprofit or been on a board, the mayor's chair is a bit. There is a steep learning curve, and to understand government both on a local level and a regional level, and of course with the province. I think there's some value that the experience of 10 years being on council that I bring to the community and to the next council, and certainly been involved and volunteered for the last 25 years. So I mean, those are some of the key things that we've accomplished as a council, and why I think moving forward would be like to continue that.
So in your announcement you mentioned your biggest regret was the Skaha waterslide debacle.
Yeah.
Now that's still an active group that saves Skaha Park Society. I mean, it's obviously not as mobilized as it was when that was all happening, but they have a couple thousand. I mean, their website, they said they had 5,000 people sign that petition, a couple thousand people on that mailing list still. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's any hope of those people voting for you?
I think, and actually next council meeting there is 3 policy documents that come forward that speak to park protection, and also policies on, and actually the Parks and Rec Master Plan itself. So it puts in place provisions that will ensure that there is the proper engagement and an actual process should an event similar to that ever come down the pike. And I think it changes the whole landscape, because not just because of that incident or that project, but moving forward, we've really rolled out engagement. So now we have, I think there's over 3,000 people on Shape Your City, Penticton.ca that we engage with on a regular basis on a variety of topics. So we really get a broad cross-section of what the community is feeling, and I think that's been in place for the last year and a half. So I think that's got to mean something to those who were skeptical or were not in support of Skaha Park, and actually the fact that the policy is in place that's going to be protecting the parks and ensuring there is a proper process and proper opportunities for people to voice their concern or be part of the project from the get-go.
I mean, have you talked to some members of that group? I mean, have you gotten the sense that those steps have been enough to, I guess, mend that bridge, rebuild that trust?
I've got that from some of those members, and certainly some of the members that are even on that executive, and come election time, maybe they say something, maybe they don't. But I think having the park protection policy in place, I think that's going to go a long ways to calming people's skepticism or concern, and addressing parks and putting more emphasis on parks and recreation in general. So those are all real positive steps for our community, and the fact that the last year and a half we've really invested heavily on engagement, and people are seeing the good and the bad and the ugly of a topic that's being put into decision making and helping with us. So they realize their concerns are actually getting documented and listened to, and actually adapted into our plans, whatever those plans or policies are. So I think those are positive steps.
All right, and looking forward, you mentioned your biggest challenge for the city would be social issues. How do you address those? What's your plan there then?
Yeah, that's why it's probably the biggest challenge, because it's in many respects a national crisis that the people, the community expect the city to solve, and social issues is broader than just housing or policing. I think really the homelessness, mental health, and addictions is really where people's concerns and frustrations certainly have been elevated in the past, and trying to manage and meet those expectations and also help those in need to find that balance is probably going to be the largest challenge for this community moving forward, and not just our community. Many of the communities throughout BC and Western Canada are in that same boat, so there's some comfort there. And you know, we are moving down avenues to address that, and we saw success with getting some of our tourism is a good example of the various operators working in silos now working as one, and we need to do that with our nonprofits, our faith-based, and our government agencies that are all on the social side to really align more together to really make an impact on those social issues, and that's starting to happen right now. So that's again part of that momentum that we're starting to build and help move this community forward with.
All right, that was this week's Mayor's Minute. Castanet Penticton. If you have a question you'd like to submit, you can send it to letters@castanet.net. Until next time.